no mean repute. Even now he occasionally carried Lady Knox in a sedate and gentlemanly manner, but it struck me that it was trying him rather high to take him from the pole of the bus after 12 miles on a hilly road, and hustle him over a country against a 4-year-old. My acutest anxiety, however, was to start the race as quickly as possible, and to get back to the tent in time to establish an alibi. Therefore I repressed my private sentiments, and tying my handkerchief to a stick, determined that no time should be fashionably frittered away in false starts. They got away somehow. I believe Sheehy's colt was facing the wrong way at the moment when I dropped the flag, but a friend turned him with a stick, and with a cordial and timely whack speeded him on his way on sufficiently level terms. And then, somehow, instead of returning to the tent, I found myself with Miss Sally on top of a tall narrow bank, in a precarious line of other spectators, with whom we toppled and swayed, and in moments of acuter emotion held on to each other in unaffected comradeship. Flurry started well, and from our commanding position we could see him methodically riding at the first fence at a smart hunting canter, closely attended by James Canty's brother on a young black mare, and by an unknown youth on a big white horse. The hope of Sheehy's stable, a leggy chestnut ridden by a cadet of the house of Sheehy, went away from the friend's stick like a rocket, and had already refused the first bank twice before old Sultan decorously changed feet on it and dropped down into the next field with tranquil precision. The white horse scrambled over it on his stomach, but landed safely, despite the fact that his rider clasped him round the neck during the process. The black mare and the chestnut shouldered one another over at the hole the white horse had left, and the whole party went away in a bunch and jumped the ensuing hurdle without disaster. Flurry continued to ride at the same steady hunting pace, accompanied respectfully by the white horse and by Jerry Canty on the black mare. Sheehy's colt had clearly the legs of the party, and did some showy galloping between the jumps; but as he refused to face the banks without a lead, the end of the first round found the field still a sociable party, personally conducted by Mr. Knox. "That's a damned nice horse," said one of my hangers-on, looking approvingly at Sultan as he passed us at the beginning of the second round, making a good deal of noise, but apparently going at his ease. "You might depend your life on him, and he have the crabblest jock in the globe of Ireland on him this minute." "Canty's mare's very sour," said another. "Look at her now, balking the bank. She's as cross as a bag of weasels." "Begob, I wouldn't say but she's a little sign lame," resumed the first. "She was going light on one leg on the road a while ago." "I tell you what it is," said Miss Sally very seriously in my ear, "that chestnut of Sheehy's is settling down. I'm afraid he'll gallop away from Sultan at the finish, and the wall won't stop him. Flurry can't get another inch out of Sultan. He's riding him well," she ended, in a critical voice which was yet not quite like her own. Perhaps I should not have noticed it, but for the fact that the hand that held my arm was trembling. As for me, I thought of Lady Knox, and trembled too. There now remained but one bank, the trampled remnant of the furze hurdle and the stone wall. The pace was beginning to improve, and the other horses drew away from Sultan. They charged the bank at full gallop, the black mare and the chestnut flying it perilously, with a windmill flourish of legs and arms from their riders; the white horse racing up to it with a gallantry that deserted him at the critical moment, with the result that his rider turned a somersault over his head and landed, amidst the roars of the onlookers, sitting on the fence facing his horse's nose. With creditable presence of mind, he remained on the bank, towed the horse over, scrambled on to his back again, and started afresh. Sultan, 30 yards to the bad, pounded doggedly on, and Flurry's cane and heels remained idle. The old horse, obviously blown, slowed cautiously, coming in at the jump. Sally's grip tightened on my arm, and the crowd yelled as Sultan, answering to a hint from the spurs and a touch at his mouth, heaved himself on to the bank. Nothing but sheer riding on Flurry's part got him safe off it, and saved him from the consequences of a bad peck on landing. None the less, he pulled himself together, and went away down the hill for the stone wall as stoutly as ever. The high road skirted the last two fields, and there was a gate in the roadside fence, beside the place where the stone wall met it at right angles. I had noticed this gate because during the first round Slipper had been sitting on it, demonstrating with his usual fervour. His colt was leading, with his nose in the air, his rider's hands going like a circular saw, and his temper, as a bystander remarked, up on end. The black mare, half mad from spurring, was going hard at his heels, completely out of hand. The white horse was steering steadily for the wrong side of the flag, and Flurry, by dint of cutting corners and of saving every yard of ground, was close enough to keep his antagonists' heads over their shoulders, while their right arms rose and fell in unceasing flagellation. "There'll be a smash when they come to the wall. If one falls, they'll all go," panted Sally. "Oh, now, Flurry, Flurry!" What had happened was that the chestnut colt had suddenly perceived that the gate at right angles to the wall was standing wide open, and swinging away from the jump, he had bolted headlong out onto the road, and along it at top speed for his home. After him fled Canty's black mare, and with her, carried away by the spirit of stampede, went the white horse. Flurry stood up in his stirrups and gave a view hallo as he cantered down to the wall. Sultan came at it with the send of the hill behind him, and jumped it with a skill that intensified, if that were possible, the volume of laughter and yells around us. By the time the black mare and the white horse had returned and ignominiously bundled over the wall to finish as best they might, Flurry was leading Sultan towards us. "That blackguard Slipper," he said, grinning. "Everyone'll say I told him to open the gate. But look here, I'm afraid we're in for trouble. Sultan's given himself a bad overreach. You could never drive him home tonight. And I've just seen Norris lying blind drunk under a wall." Now Norris was Lady Knox's coachman. We stood aghast at this horror on horror's head. The blood trickled down Sultan's heel, and the lather lay in flecks on his dripping, heaving sides, in irrefutable witness to the iniquity of Lady Knox's only daughter. Then Flurry said: "Thank the Lord, here's the rain." At the moment, I admit that I failed to see any cause for gratitude in this occurrence, but later on I appreciated Flurry's grasp of circumstances. That appreciation was, I think, at its highest development about half an hour afterwards, when I, an unwilling conspirator, a part with which my acquaintance with Mr. Knox had rendered me but too familiar, unfurled Mrs. Cadogan's umbrella over Lady Knox's head, and hurried her through the rain from the tent to the bus, keeping it and my own person well between her and the horses. I got her in, with the rest of her bedraggled and exhausted party, and slammed the door. "Remember, Major Yates," she said through the window, "you are the only person here in whom I have any confidence. I don't wish anyone else to touch the reins." This with a glance towards Flurry, who was standing near. "I'm afraid I'm only a moderate whip," I said. "My dear man," replied Lady Knox testily, "those horses could drive themselves." I slunk round to the front of the bus. Two horses, carefully rugged, were in it, with the inevitable Slipper at their heads. "Slipper's going with you," whispered Flurry, stepping up to me. "She won't have me at any price. He'll throw the rugs over them when you get to the house, and if you hold the umbrella well over her she'll never see. I'll manage to get Sultan over somehow, when Norris is sober. That'll be all right." I climbed to the box without answering, my soul being bitter within me, as is the soul of a man who has been persuaded by womankind against his judgment. "Never again," I said to myself, picking up the reins. "Let her marry him or Bernard shoot, or both of them if she likes, but I won't be roped into this kind of business again." Slipper drew the rugs from the horses, revealing on the near side Lady Knox's majestic carriage horse, and on the off a thick-set brown mare of about 15 hands. "What brute is this?" said I to Slipper as he swarmed up beside me. "I don't rightly know where Master Flurry got her," said Slipper, with one of his hiccuping crows of laughter. "Give her the whip, Major." And here he broke into song: "Howl to the steel, howl 'em and lowl, she'll run like an eel." "If you don't shut your mouth," said I, with pent-up ferocity, "I'll chuck you off the bus." Slipper was but slightly drunk, and taking this delicate rebuke in good